How can the men provide a container for a woman to really feel safe and free in?
Well, it's interesting because in my work, I only focus on what women can do. I'm no longer interested in what men can do, what society can do, what the government can do, because it's really a codependent phenomenon, right? When you imagine that you need to get someone to see, that you need to get them to do the thing, induce, strategize, and manipulate, you're in your childhood trauma programming, right? That being said, the simplicity of containment is deceptive, right? Because as you know, it can be a glance, right? It can be a hand on a shoulder. It can be the tone of your voice, the tenor and depth of your vocalization, right? It can just be the stillness with which you're standing. But to get to that place where you're a man who can offer that kind of regulation of your system to anyone in your midst, you got to do a lot of fucking work, right? I know you know that's what you're here for. And I'm so grateful for it, because that kind of, a woman cannot teach a man that, nor should she, right? This is something I believe women learn with women and men learn with men.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be able to receive, first of all, I wouldn't be able to identify or put myself in the presence of a man who can offer containment if I am a woman who is unwilling to surrender, right? So not submit, but surrender. If I'm unwilling to, because I've coupled that with danger, I will consistently put myself around men who induce leadership in me and then resent me for it. However, to be a woman who can receive containment, I must be able to offer that to my own system, which means that I'm not flailing around, cathecting every time I feel something, that I honor my inner sensations, that I can observe them, bear witness to them, and that I can create the conditions to move that energy, not needing somebody else to do that work for me. So, I have a simple practice I can share. It's super simple that I call entering through the upset. I think this is kind of the only spiritual practice a woman ever needs. And all that it implies is that any time that you feel upset in your day, it could be an email, it could be a remark, it could be something your kid said, whatever, somebody in traffic, you take 30 to 90 seconds. Ideally, you can go in the bathroom, close the door, go in your bedroom, whatever. But you get into this practice and you just start to recognize your responsibility for your own emotional mastery. Okay, so you take 30 to 90 seconds. And first thing you do is I call it self-husbanding, is to feel your spine and to take on, almost like you're play acting, the energy of a good husband, right? So what is a good husband like? He's got that steady gaze. He's big, right? His energy's big, stable. He's here and he's like, what you got for me, baby? Right? So you take that on. When I self-husband, it takes 2 seconds. I can feel my spine get tall and I can feel almost like I'm offering my gaze. But what am I offering it to? I'm offering it to my own innerscape. Okay. So I do that. I set the stage that way. And then all I do is watch and witness. I'm not labeling. I'm not storying. I just watch and witness the sensations. Okay. So I'm not processing what the meaning is. I'm not looking at my thoughts. That's a beautiful inquiry practice, is wonderful. Huge Byron Katie fan. But to my mind, that's later. It's a more advanced stage that comes after this very basic reunion with your body's sensations so that you can come into a yes comportment towards what's actually fucking happening. Okay. So you just watch it 30, 90 seconds. I can virtually guarantee it will shift. And you might be like, well, what did I get out of that? A lot. Because the pattern disrupt that says my sensations matter more than anything else for me to pay attention to, not my boyfriend, not my ex-husband, not the lawyer I hired. No, your sacred masculine attention is the gift that you give your system. It's a part of this safety that you can offer to yourself. And once you have a practice of doing that, then when you're in the presence of a man who can offer you that kind of steady, stable containment, you will be able to receive it. And in that way, the circuit, right, becomes complete. because whatever it is that comes through you in that state is, of course, your gift of reflection to him, right? And also you're allowing him to be in service to the men, women, and children of the world through his body. So it's like a really beautiful contract, obviously, that comes online, but not without our being in the maturity as women to fully receive it.
Yes, and therein lies the reclaimed woman. It sounds to me like it's a reclamation of the nervous system, of the somatic experience of being in your own body and providing that safety. And so once you are reclaimed, let's go into the mate selection. As a person who works with a lot of men, my number one request is from women. Adam, how do I find a sacred son? I want one of these sacred sons men, and there's a lot of women like, where are the good men?
Oof, I hate that phrase.
You know that question?
I do. I probably uttered it too. And it's just the ultimate victim trope. It really is. It's just a deflection of, and it's well conditioned, right? Because again, I'll just keep hearkening back to feminism and related programming, because you mentioned birth control. That's one arm of it. Sexual liberation agenda is another arm of it. I would even argue in some ways the New Age, and the way it has, through some flavors, feminized men and encouraged them, right, to soften, and is another arm of it. But because of all that, we have rejected our basic femininity. We don't want to be with our feminine essence, with our feminine nature. And then somehow we expect that a man, right? It's like a princess, like damsel, right? Like you want to be saved by that which you have zero intimacy with. Like you don't know what men are like, what they need. You don't care. You just want to be rescued from your own experience, from the intolerability of your chaotic, feminine nature. So yes, that phrase, where are the good men? Why are there no good men? I mean, I was a covert man hater my whole life, and I didn't know that was beneath even my professional activism. As an anti-pharmaceutical activist, I would have been like, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with men? It has nothing to do with men. This has to do with health. And in fact, it has to do with women's empowerment, because women are being told to medicate, with psychotropics and antidepressants, their emotions. They're being told to hijack their hormonal systems with birth control. They're being told to medicalize birth. They're being told breastfeeding is optional. They're being told that their mothering hands are replaceable by any warm body. Right? They're being separated from their own wombs and encouraged to transcend their biology. So that's empowerment, isn't it? Right? To be on a level playing field with men is what we're going for. And I now recognize that was a zero-sum game, right? So to imagine that we could subdue and in many ways oppress in kind the men who have done us wrong, which I actually also believe is a figment, because men and women have been oppressed. And, there might be an upper crust of 1% of tyrants who happen to have penises. But for the most part, we're all struggling in this life. Okay. And, when I started to shift my perspective, I looked around and I saw a lot of men doing a lot of thankless jobs for me in the world. I looked around at the infrastructure of this life that I enjoy, and I could see the fingerprints of men who made this for me, who fixed this for me, who do these, perilous things, who risk their lives in ways that I am not only not interested in, but not willing to, right? And I started to see that the path home to myself, right? Because I don't believe in altruism or philanthropy. I believe everything must be for yourself, or you're denying a need that will be codependently met. The path home to myself is to no longer speak ill of men, and to recognize that my appreciation and admiration is the currency of exchange.
It's actually a superpower.